Chris, aloha, brah. How's it?
Aloha, bro. How are you?
Good, man. It's always good to have you back on the podcast. I think this is your third or fourth time. I can't
It's got
remember.
to be at
Yeah,
least three or four. Yes,
at least three or four. It's always good to have you
yes.
back on, man, because damn, we've kind of known each other for a long time now. I can't remember how many years. At least seven, maybe
Oh, bro, check this out. So I was actually
7
going
years.
through at least it's actually we're going on 8 years now. I was going
Eight.
through some old pictures. Yes, I found a
Yeah.
drive and I actually found a bunch of old pics that I was going through. And yeah, I've got a picture of you and me. It was circa it was like late 2012, early 2013.
hmm
Yes. And so we have known each other for a long time, my friend.
It's
It-
so true. And I look back at those
yeah.
pictures, man. We look so young back then. Like we're lifting our shirts
Oh,
up, flexing. You was like
yeah.
a little kid, and I'm like,
Yes.
so much younger. We got the gray hairs coming in and
Dude, hold
the
on, hold on. I gotta stop you there
wrinkles.
because I noticed this as soon as we jumped on. You have zero gray hairs, bro. Zero. Look at this,
You gotta
man.
zoom in. I think it's the
Yeah,
lighting.
that's good lighting. It looks like that product is called Grecian Men. I was totally
Mhm.
thinking about getting it and just having like this dark black beard, like just bringing it back. But you could get away with it, man. You look good.
We'll see, man. It's maybe it's the humidity out here.
Yeah, right. Well, it's the chill lifestyle, I hope.
Yeah, it's the aloha lifestyle. But anyways, bro, I want to talk to you about like you've had some big life changes, of course. We both have, man, and
Yeah,
those life
yeah, we have.
changes really that's where the growth happens. Even though it sucks, like going through a divorce. Like talk to us about what you went through, maybe some dark moments, and how you overcame that. Because I've been very public about how I've overcome mine. I'm very curious if you're open to being transparent with what you've been going through and how you've overcome these dark times.
Oh gosh. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I do want to say thank you because for everyone listening, it was actually Drew was one of my confidants going through the process, and so and obviously you know this, my friend, because you were that shoulder for me to lean on as I was really struggling with the decision to stay together or to divorce and go our own separate ways. And I guess I'll preface the whole thing with saying um, I I am much happier now.
Yeah.
But the process of actually coming to the conclude like of finally deciding upon a divorce was like just wickedly painful. Obviously, like, personally, because it's I don't want to say the death, but it's like the end of a family unit as we knew it. And
Yeah.
that was the part that actually when because Heidi and I we started struggling back in 2015, 2016,
And
and
no
now
one knew about it,
granted,
right? Like, talk about,
correct.
like, because 'cause you're a public figure, you guys are like, "Oh, you're the perfect couple." There's a lot of pressure, right? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
and I'll also be fully transparent. Is like some of that pressure was also one of the reasons that we stayed together longer than we should have.
Yeah.
Again, look, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but there is all kinds of external pressure from family, from friends,
Mm,
from social media and media. Who's
yeah.
because we were branded together. It was Chris and Heidi and Chris and Heidi, and at the same time, our personal relationship was falling apart.
Yeah.
But that's also when we started to go to see these therapists to see if there's any way to kind of like heal what was breaking.
Mm,
And so like that's why even on social media, like if you go back and see my posts over the several years that we
yeah.
were struggling, I mean, there was actually long periods of time where I wouldn't even post about her, but then there was also
Yeah.
these moments, like these beautiful moments, where I would actually do a tribute to her, and that's because there were so many like shorter periods of time in that where I had hope, where it was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, maybe things can work out. Maybe she like we are made to grow together for the rest of our lives. Maybe this is the what I need to be in. And so it was just like, and so it wasn't like woke up one day and it was like it's over. It was I'm in, I'm out, I'm in.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Maybe I can. Wait, she's the love of my life. We're gonna be together forever. No, I can't do this. Like I'm miserable. And it was this back and forth.
Yeah.
And same for her. Um, and so that was the hardest part about it, was just there was it for years. It wasn't yes
Yeah.
or no. It was maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. And what do we've got these amazing children. How could we possibly take this apart? But at the same
Mhm.
time, ultimately, after several years of that, I did make the final decision to divorce because I was becoming someone I did not like at all. I was becoming the worst version of me. And I was
Mm.
full of resentment, and I was
Yep.
full of anger, and I was becoming really dark, and I didn't even know that part of me existed, and it
Yeah.
scared the hell out of me. And
Mm.
so that's when I decided that it was time for me to step away from the situation, because the kids were seeing it. I mean, it was, I
Yeah.
walked into that house, and there was just a dark cloud around me. I was
Yeah.
not a happy person. I was a miserable person.
Yeah.
And it was how I was feeling about myself, and I was projecting it everywhere. And poor Heidi and the kids, they like they got the worst of it. And
Yeah.
that's when, and I mean, I hate to say it, but like, I couldn't let the kids just be collateral damage in this thing. I saw it, I recognized it. I said, I got to step out so that they can actually see a happier version of me. Because when Heidi and I came together, it just it brought out the bad part of me. It had nothing
Yeah.
necessarily to do with her, but it brought out a
Yeah.
bad part of me. And so I had to
Mm.
step away. And then, but then, of course, it was, how do we make the announcement? How do we tell everyone?
Oh,
Because we'd been
man.
so branded together, we built so
So much
much together. As far
anxiety.
as,
Yeah.
oh, oh man, and I know it's like, and it's easy for people to say, well, how could you care about, you know all a bunch of people that you don't even know? But
Yeah.
I do. There's a connection with
Yeah.
the people who follow me. Like, those are the people who, hey, they're the reason that my show was on air for 5 years. Those are the
Yeah.
people that I've committed to serving for the rest of my life. There is a deep relationship there, and I care
Yeah.
about them, and I care about the trust that we have. And so it was hard to open up to that, to a darker part of what was happening in my personal life. And so then finally, when we did make the announcement, obviously, and Drew, you've been there, like,
Yeah.
you're terrified about
Yeah.
just the ramifications, and you don't want to hurt people, you don't want to let people down, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, how long can I keep
Speak your
going?
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And how long can I continue this downward spiral before, like, something bad happens? Let me tell you, the last year that we were together, when I was in this, like, really dark place, I had a blood pressure cuff on my desk, and
Oh,
twice a day
really?
I had to take my blood pressure. Dude, I eat
Oh, man.
chicken and rice and broccoli and protein shakes and greens all day long. I work out every day. I'm should
Yeah.
be healthy as a horse, and I had chronically high blood pressure simply because of the stress I
Wow.
was putting myself
The
through. Yeah.
stress.
Oh, dude, any given day it was 160 over 120. Any given moment of the
Jeez.
day. Yeah. And so, and sure
Man.
enough, after the divorce, after it was clean, after we made the announcement and everything, my blood pressure came right back down, and my body
Mm.
started to heal itself, and I started to be happy again. I started to
Yeah.
feel like myself. I started to find my voice and my passion.
Yeah.
And but hey, dude, it
Yeah.
certainly wasn't easy, because there's a big mess to clean up. But it's but
So
and it,
true.
but it, but best of all, the kids get to see a much better version of me. And also, because
Yeah.
they're not dealing with the interactions between me and Heidi, which, God bless her, like, hey, she's great. We're friends. We really are. Like,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
She's happier. She's found someone that she genuinely loves, and, like, they've got a great relationship. And so, like, dude, things are so much better now. And of course, when you're in that position, you're like, I have no idea where the future is going to take me. I don't know
Yeah.
how or where I can find happiness, even though you find it within. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's nice. Well, where is it? Because it certainly ain't here right now, right? But you're like, how will I ever be happy again? Will I ever feel purpose and meaning and fulfillment? And
Yeah.
I can tell you,
Were
like,
there times
have
were there
go
times,
ahead.
Chris, sorry to interrupt, were there times where you felt like this is how it's always gonna be? Like, you're like, "I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel." Did you ever feel that, like, there were moments like that? Or were you like, "No, I'm gonna get out of this no matter what?" Does that make sense?
No, there were, yeah, absolutely. I just had to think about it for a second. There were times of
Mhm.
hopelessness. There were absolutely
Okay.
times that, and I kind of fell back on some of the advice from my therapists, who were like, "You're gonna think that." They told me what I was gonna. They said, "You're gonna
Yeah.
feel at moments of hopelessness where you're gonna feel like it's gonna be like this forever. I'm never gonna get out of it." Um,
Yeah.
and so I remember, even in those moments, I was like, "Thank goodness I remembered them telling me that I was going to think that." And they said, "But don't worry, there are." Like, you will get out of it. You will get through this. Like, as the saying goes, this too shall pass.
Yes.
And it did. Here's the thing: life looks very different now from what it did
Yeah.
before, in every aspect. But man, like, things are happening now that I could have never foreseen, and I have more meaning and more fulfillment in my life now than I think I've ever had. My relationship with my kids
Wow.
is better than it's ever been. My relationship with Heidi is actually good now. We can be in a room
Mhm.
together, and I don't feel that resentment. And, like, I can actually feel just genuine compassion for her, and I can care about her, like, as a friend.
Yeah.
Which is like, thank goodness, because for a while, and especially going through the actual divorce process, the separation, for anyone who's been through the divorce, especially when you're separating things, I know it can sound so superficial and trivial, but when you're actually, like, separating, like the possessions, things that you've built, like, together, things that you've collected and accrued together, man, it gets brutal. It is brutal,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, yeah, but to finally be on the other side of that, and just and feel better,
Yeah.
like, what a
Yeah.
relief. um
You
but
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, my friend.
I was gonna say, you mentioned therapy. What were some tools that helped you other than therapy, like, navigate these dark times, these hard that helped you kind of pull through and get to this place of fulfillment and a different level of happiness now?
um I think probably one of the more painful lessons that I had to go through, just because it required me to check my ego, was,
Uh-huh.
it was the practice of taking full responsibility for all of my actions in this process that have
Mhm.
led us to where we are, and literally going through the laundry list, and
Mhm.
taking full responsibility for my role in in the deterioration of the
Mm.
relationship, and in
Yeah.
the harm that was done. um Probably one of the more painful parts, but also one of the best parts, was
Mhm.
looking at the role that I played in some of the harm that it was doing for the children. That hurt.
Interesting.
That really,
Yeah.
really hurt. But it was also the check that I needed to force me, by choice, to show up for them, and to
Yeah.
change their priority level on the totem pole, if you know what I'm saying. And, like, literally,
Yeah.
they went to the top, and thank goodness for that, because, and I'm sure that you, obviously, going through what you've gone through,
Uh-huh.
when going through, like, some of the really dark times of the divorce, when you start to feel really, really alone. Man, it was my times with my children when I felt that unconditional love, and I can say that, and it
Oh,
was like
yeah.
learning the difference between conditional love and unconditional love. And holy crap, man, if I don't know I don't know what I would have done without them, without that unconditional love that I feel
Oh,
for
yeah.
them and that I feel from them, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
That's huge.
and I,
That's
yeah,
very healing to have that.
yeah. And I wish I could drill down a little bit more into, like, a specific, exercise or something, but that the therapist had us do. But yeah, for me, it was again taking full responsibility for the
Yeah.
yeah for my role in the damage that was done, both in our relationship and for the kids. Are you hearing a
Yeah.
chiming? I'm so sorry. I don't know how to turn
Oh,
those
I
notifications
don't I'm
off.
not hearing it I'm not hearing it on my end, so I think we're good to go. It
Okay,
might just be
okay, okay,
yourself, but
good.
it's okay.
Okay, good.
Um, there's a good book by Jocko Willink, called Extreme Ownership, and that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's so easy to, especially in divorce, point fingers and hold that resentment and play the victim card because, not everyone knows, your specific situation or Heidi's specific situation or the situation in general. And so it's easy to stay stuck in this victim mindset, like you did this, and like I am justified in feeling the way I do. And 100%, your feelings are valid. But the
Yeah,
problem is that if you stay stuck there, you're the one that suffers. And you can justify it staying stuck there 100%. You're the one that suffers, which ends up bleeding on your kids who didn't ask for any of this. And so
right.
if you don't fix yourself, you're going to bleed on those who didn't cut you, which is the kids. And this is why I'm such a big proponent of, learning about the ego, taking extreme ownership no matter what happens, right? And learning to let
Yes.
go of your ego and your pride so that your kids who are innocent in all this don't end up suffering. So I know you've done the work. One thing I was going to mention, just observing you on social media, Chris, is I see you hike up to the top of this mountain. I don't know if it's like at nighttime or in the morning time. You hike up there, and that has to be therapeutic for you. Am I
Dude, that's actually
right?
where my life changed.
Yes.
I'm
Okay. Yeah, I
really
wanted you to
thank
talk
you for
about this.
mentioning it, because that
Yeah.
no joke, the top of that mountain was a turning point for me. And it was actually where I could take the lessons or the exercises that the therapist would give us. And when you're sitting in
Yeah.
the office, there's a little bit of a game between me and the therapist. It's like so a lot of times
True.
I find myself telling them what they want to hear, and I'll find myself
Yeah.
starting to open up a little bit, but the real work isn't being done there. For at least for some
Yes.
people, it can be. For others, it's like take it home with them and then sit on it for a while. And for me, what I ended up doing is I realized one of the most powerful things I could do to help me make it through this time is to change my perspective. And so there's a butte in my just in my outside of my neighborhood, and I
Yeah.
hike to the top of it, and I do it at night, and I can look down on just a sea of lights, and
Yeah.
um, and man, it's powerful because it's up there that, okay, number one, I am a firm believer of getting back into nature, because sure enough, when you do that, when you're out there and you're under the stars and you're shoes off, feet on the dirt,
Yeah.
you can reconnect with something that's so much more powerful than us. And
Yeah.
so like that was my time to sit there and just all by myself and just open my heart up. And I can't tell you
Yeah.
how many times I've literally sat up there, just tears streaming down my face,
Crying. Yep.
crying and experiencing pain and joy and fear. I mean, like, again, just opening it up and just really digesting everything that's happened in life, everything that's happening now, and then also really also kind of being honest. Like that's the raw place up there where I can go and be honest with myself and be like, hey, you're an a-hole in this situation. You handled this poorly. You did this wrong. Like you did this. And now how
Mhm.
can I remedy this? And how can I instead turn this around and serve? How can I make the situation better? How can I communicate better? How can I just be a better person? So that's being up there on top of that hill. And it was actually being up there on top of the hill is probably one of the best things that came to me, for where I can find happiness again. Because I'm not going to lie, man. After the separation, I was lonely. I was
Yeah.
really, really lonely, and I just felt that emptiness. Now, granted, it's amazing the weeks that I would have the kids, because I could be busy with them and I could experience that unconditional love, and it was amazing. And then the moment the kids went over to Heidi, it got real
Oh, yeah.
quiet real fast. And I'm turning on every TV in the house. You know what I'm talking about. And
Yep.
it's,
Yep.
I got the radio going, I got the TVs on, every light's on, and I'm just looking for some sort of, and then finally I'm scrolling social media, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, man, there's a void in my life right now where, and the thing is, I know this stuff because I've coached people through this so much. I'm like, you can't find it out there. It's
Yeah.
within, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking within, and I don't know what it is. I don't know how to find meaning and purpose, and I'm not happy. And up on top of that hill, and again, I'll be totally honest, right after the divorce, there's always this competitive nature between me and Heidi. And right afterward,
Mhm.
dude, opened three different businesses, like LLCs. I started three different things.
Wow.
And I'm like, look, I'm going to go and I'm going to be financially successful. I'm going to show more than anything, I'm going to show her that that I could do this, and I'm going to do it big and blah. So I started, no joke, three different companies, and I
Jeez.
was like, and I'm hustling during the day, and I was like, just I was a machine, and it was all
Mhm.
focused on making money.
Yeah.
And I went to the top of that hill, and I sat out there,
Yeah.
open up my heart, and I just thought, man, at the end of the day, like if I play my cards right, I might have another 50 years on this earth. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, what's it all about? And
Yeah.
and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It has nothing to do with financial success. All of the
Yep.
happiness, the purpose, the meaning I'm going to find in life, it's going to be done serving all those lights I see. And I can see 4.5 million lights from the top of that hill. There's 4.5 million people that I can look out onto the valley. And I
Wow.
said, it's going to be done serving them. So
Yeah.
my currency from this moment on, and it hit me in a moment, my currency is not the American dollar. My currency is in minutes of time spent serving the world. And
Yeah.
that's what's true. That's what's valuable to me then. And it hasn't changed. And so, and it
Yeah.
was actually right then and there. That's when I decided I was going to start my own service project. And I said, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to create something, and I'm going to serve the world. And
I
and that was the beginning of Move 1 Million, actually. So
Yes, perfect, dude, you're you're so awesome, man. You're helping me with the transitions. You're like, "I got you, Drew. I got you. We'll bring you this up eventually," because I did wanna transition to that. Like, was this idea born out of this situation? It sounds like it was,
it was.
which is remarkable. Really quick, just to recap, 2 things for people listening. There's we underestimate the power of being alone and how necessary that is as an adult human with kids with responsibilities to make time to be alone, to sit with your thoughts and be uncomfortable sometimes. Number two, get out in nature, reconnect with nature. It's more powerful than you think. It's very healing, no matter what you're going through. And I would say the third thing is that happiness is not found in these outside things like success and money and getting this body. It comes from within, and you have the power to create that from within. But let's transition into Move 1 Million. How did this idea cut you, like, okay, I want to serve? How did you go from that
Yes.
to Move 1 Million?
So from the moment it dawned on me that my happiness, purpose, meaning, fulfillment at the end of my life, what's it all about? It's about service. I came down the hill again. I had no idea what that looked like,
Yeah.
but it was just in this quest to fill that emptiness, that void that I was feeling, and that loneliness that I was feeling. And sure enough, it felt so good just to have that answer. But again, I had no idea what I was going to do. Now, mind you, we are about a month and a half into the pandemic now, into quarantine. So we're mid-April. Remember, things started shutting down in March. This is mid-April of
Yes.
last year that I was up on top of the hill,
Uh-huh.
and I was looking out there. I just thought, okay, there's 4.5 million people. They're quarantined now. They're not moving nearly as much as they used to. Already the reports of anxiety, depression, suicides through the roof. And this is because we've just been locked in our homes for about a month at this point. And I was thinking, okay, what do I have? What tools do I have? Well, I do have a platform, which is amazing. Like, wow, what a blessing. How can I leverage that platform and create something for these people? And I went back home, I turned on the TV, and there was a documentary on Japan. And I didn't make
Okay.
it 5 minutes into the documentary, and they go, every morning, this is so crazy. Every morning in Japan at 6:30, the entire country does something called Ragio Taiso, which means radio calisthenics. It was brought to Japan, bear with me here, it's brought to Japan in 1928. Emperor Hirohito at the time was a firm believer in the movement, in physical movement together to bring his country together, to unite them. And on top of that, this other big problem, he was trying to bring his country together, but he was also struggling with the fact that the average life expectancy was between 40 and 45 years old. And so he
Oh,
believed in the
wow.
power of physical movement and to ingrain a culture of movement into his country of Japan to help them live longer, happier lives. And so he brought radio over from the United States in 1928, and every morning at 6:30, he mandated across schools, corporations, factories, the entire country at 6:30 in the morning went through 13 movements over 3.5 minutes to the same music every single day. It
Wow.
was so powerful. This is in 1928. By 1955, Japan was the healthiest country in the world. And then and between 1955 and like 1982, the life expectancy went to 84 years old. Today,
Wow.
here we
Doubled.
are 93 years later, 93 years later, 27 million Japanese continue to do Rajio Taiso every single day. It was so powerful at bonding his country, at uniting his country. In 1945, when the US occupied Japan, we banned Rajio Taiso because he built his armies using it. It was so powerful bringing his
Oh,
people together. And if
yeah.
you remember a year ago, you turn on the TV, there's riots in the streets. We were more divided than ever. We still are
Yep.
struggling like crazy with this division. We've got, again, the sedentary. I mean, just from COVID, average weight gain is 29 pounds from COVID.
Yeah.
So we're more sedentary than ever. Anxiety, 50% of Americans are now are reporting some sort of anxiety or depression disorder or some sort of issue with anxiety and depression. 50% suicides are through the roof. I work with the public schools here, and people are struggling. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is what we need. We need a
Yeah.
modern Rajio Taisa. We need this now more than ever, not just for this nation, but for the world. Oh my gosh, wait, I could do that. I know this stuff. I've got a degree in exercise science and biomechanics. Obviously, I've got an incredible platform in fitness. Let me create. And by the way, I can generate a total body, a biomechanically sound total body warm up that explores the entire range of the human body. I'm going to shorten it to 2.5 minutes. Instead of radio, I've been building apps for the last 5 years. I'm going to use my team. We're going to
Yeah.
build an app. I'm going to personally fund this whole thing. This is my service project. There's no money to be
Wow.
made in this at all. This is literally a gift I want to build and give it to the world.
Yeah.
Sure enough, when I was on the show, in fact, around the time that you and I met, I had written a
Yeah.
song for my people. I was so inspired by them going through the journey of transformation. I wrote them a song called The Hero's Journey. And it's for anyone going through the journey of
Uh-huh.
transformation, except I'd never shared it with anybody. And I've just kind of kept it in my back pocket. And there's never an opportunity. And I thought, now is it, this is what I wrote the song for. It's not mine anymore. I'm going to give the song to the world. I'm going to create these 13 movements just like they did in Japan. Instead of 3.5 minutes, it's going to be 2.5 minutes. I'm going to build it onto an app technology, into like an app platform, and I'm going to just open it up and I'm going to give it to the world. And
Wow.
sure enough, yeah. So I dug in. I dug into my pocketbook and my bank account a
Of
lot,
course. Yeah, of course.
and I built this whole thing out. I had no idea where it was going to go, but at the same time, I just knew that I wanted to just do something to help, to help all the
Yeah.
people that were suffering out there. And sure enough, a couple of my friends over at Mesa Public Schools, they heard about it. The mayor of Mesa, Arizona, ended up hearing about it. Before I knew it, the entire city was on board, from fire and rescue to parks and rec to the mayor's office to the public schools to everything. We ended up doing a big commercial with the mayor and the superintendent and the head of fire and the head of police on top of this mountain overlooking Arizona. Like it's another butte that's right here in the East Valley. We shot a commercial, launched it across the entire city, and this is 5 months ago. And now here we are. We became a full 501c3, so we're a full blown nonprofit now, and we're moving over 80,000 people a day, every single day. There's a brand new broadcast, and we move, and then we actually take 2 minutes and we do a mindfulness exercise. And so all the kids in
Uh-huh.
Mesa Public Schools do it now. We're actually going to be opening in the city of Goodyear. We're actually in talks with the Phoenix School District, and actually we're working on an event where we're going to be doing it now with all the sports mascots, and it's going to be zoomed out to every city or every school across the state. We're going to be doing it on the Capitol steps. Um,
Oh,
and
that
so
is so cool.
it's being adopted uh, everywhere across the state. We're actually working with Phoenix Children's
So,
Hospital
like,
now,
Phoenix
Dignity Health
Suns,
Hospitals.
Arizona Cardinals, like those teams too?
Yes. Well, the
Oh, wow,
mascots.
dude.
So
That's cool.
we're gonna have all the
Yeah, the
mascots out
mascots. Yeah,
because,
yeah.
yeah, and so we've just had we're having so much fun with this. The city of Jacksonville, Florida, found out about it, flew us out there. So we did a big event in Jacksonville, just south of Jacksonville, and now I'm flying back to Florida to present it at what's called the Shape Florida Convention, which is actually the convention for all the public school PE teachers across the entire state because they want to adopt it into the state of Florida now. So
Wow.
this what started as a service project has just grown into something so beautiful, and it's what's awesome that it's not mine anymore, it's the world's. And so
Yeah.
now all of these children who are growing up, they're going to know, I spent 20 years of my life working with people through transformation, and none of them knew what the first step could possibly be. And now they'll all know the very first they'll know how to move their body for 2.5 minutes every day. And the
Yeah.
beauty of the whole thing is the simplicity. It's the same movements, it's the same music,
Yeah.
and we will never, ever, ever, ever forget it. And they'll know it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. That is
So,
powerful,
yeah.
Chris. I actually didn't know this story because you've been, we talked before this. Like we usually catch up with each other every once in a while, just check in and stuff. But we've both been so busy with my transition and this. I didn't know the whole backstory behind this, but it's beautiful to hear. And like, it's amazing to see what you've done with it. Can you talk really briefly, because we're coming up on time? What are the movements exactly, and what can people expect? Like, so that they know, like you said,
Yeah.
mindfulness practice, like 2.5 minutes of what are they doing during those 2.5 minutes?
Yeah, so for the 2.5 minutes, we start. It's a top down warm up. So we start with the neck roll, and what we do is we
Hmm.
actually enact the hero's journey along with the music. So the
Okay.
music starts in a minor as you're kind of going through an awakening, and that's why we start with the neck roll, because you got to get your head right
Yeah.
first. And once your head is right, then
Yeah.
we start to work down the body, and we move into it's a movement of appreciation with arm circles and a hug stretch,
Yeah.
as you're really appreciating
Yes.
this incredible machine that we've been given, this body, because we are, ultimately we are the hero, and the hero is waking up. From there, we go into more appreciation movements with reaches and touches as we warm up the
Mhm.
posterior chain. And then after that, we move into what's called tornadoes. And tornadoes, that's going to be the twists and turns. Those are going to be the curveballs that life throws at you. So it's going to be full body
Mhm.
rotation. So
Oh,
rotation through the
nice.
torso and also through the lower body. And again, those twists and turns, it's going to get difficult. But right after that, we move into just marching in place as we start to move down the body into the lower extremities. And that's when the hero realizes that, hey, you know what? Tough times are going to come, but I can make it through it. I can find my stride. Into there, we go into
Yeah.
another celebration movement, which we call kickbacks, where it's a dynamic stretch for the quads. And then from there, there's a really powerful transition. We call it superhero stretch. It's a big chest stretch. It comes down the center. And that's when we go through this movement here, where it's like you realize that the
Oh,
hero is
yeah.
within you, and it's always been there. Then we go through a multi directional lunge. And that's where you find strength in the struggle. So it's lunging
Yeah.
forward and back, and lateral lunges, and then back lunges. And then from there, there's two big celebration movements at the end. And we finish with what's called a phoenix squat, where it's a squat and you're reaching the arms overhead just like the phoenix, because we are transformation. We're all capable of greatness, of that transformation. And the whole thing finishes with a big
Yeah.
flex, and then you got to hit your own pose. And that's where
Oh,
it's
yeah, I got
unique, and that's where every kid out there, they make it their own, because you can dab, you can do backflips, you can do whatever, but you got to make it your own. Then after those two and
Gotcha.
a half minutes, we have everyone calm down, and you can sit on the floor, you can sit in a chair, you can just stand there with your shoulders back, with your shoulders back straight, chin up. And we go through a 2.5 minute, there's 14 different mindfulness exercises that we rotate between. And then we just do total body check-ins from the top all the way down. And they vary between inhaling the colors of the rainbow and finding strength in that. And then others will just simply, we do a full body check-in where we actually scan the body head to toe. We find any kind of
Mhm.
tense, like any tightness, any movement, and we breathe into it and relax. We bring them to here and now. And my very favorite part of every single day, is at the very end, because it's a new broadcast every day. So we do different themes with, like, firefighters join us, or we have had
Oh,
Olympians join
cool.
us, and it's really fun. But at the very end, after we go through the mindfulness exercise, that's when and it was amazing because the schools have actually allowed me to say this, but I get to tell the kids, once I bring them to here and now after the breathing exercise, I say, now pull your shoulders back, raise your chin up high, turn your palms facing me, and hear this. You are powerful. You can do anything that you set your body and your mind to. Now, on behalf of myself and the tens of thousands of people who've moved today, you are loved, and we believe in you. And the thing is, like, for me, that means more than anything, because I've had a chance doing this to go to these different schools
Mhm.
to see some of the living conditions that these kids are growing up in. And like, for example, I went to a school just a couple of weeks ago, and the principal, I'd moved all the kids and they're all smiling and high fives, and the kids left, and she said, "Hey, that means more to these kids than you'll ever know. In fact, 19 of the kids here are homeless. They actually live in the park." And it's just like, man, some of these kids, they don't get the opportunity. They don't hear that. They don't hear that they're
Yeah.
powerful. They don't hear that they can do anything that they set their mind to. They don't hear that they're loved, or that anybody believes them. Like, how lucky am I to be that person, to share that with them
Yeah.
every day? Like, this is where I think, bro, more happiness than I could ever imagine. Like, what a gift. I don't know how I got to be so lucky, but like, dude, I found so much purpose and happiness in this. You know, it feels good. And I know, like, when it's all said and done, man, like, I genuinely, like, served humanity. Like, you get it. I know you get it. But
Yes, you have.
this is where I found happiness. It feels
Yeah.
really good, you know?
100%. I can hear and sense the emotion, man, and it's something you truly believe in, and that's what makes you so much more powerful. And these things, like you're getting fulfillment out of giving to these kids, but also in a sense, it's giving to you, Chris, too. Like there's an inner child inside you. There's an inner child inside all of us that we need to remind ourselves that we're loved and that we're all worthy of love and that we are powerful. And like so, you're doing this for kids and adults that even some adults haven't been told that they're loved and they're powerful. There definitely are some kids out there, but adults too that are our age or even older and never really heard those positive affirmations. So I
Absolutely.
believe in what you're doing. I 100% believe in what you're doing.
Dude, thank you, brother.
So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. It's
Yeah,
it's
man.
it's it's a
So
pleasure. Oh,
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
I just love what I love, from extreme weight loss. I see that your transformation. I've seen how much you've grown just over the years, man, and you vice versa too, probably. It's
Oh,
just it's
yeah.
beautiful to see you find like a new purpose because it is like a death going through what you went through. But there's a rebirth. There's that phoenix rising on the other side that you just can't see it yet in the middle of the mess of the ugliness of the change and the darkness. You can't see it yet, but that's where the faith comes in of like, I have to keep going because I know something eventually is going to come on the other end that's going to be so much more beautiful. It's going to be worth all this pain, all this suffering. But in the middle of it, it's hard because you think it's going to be like this forever. My current situation is my final destination, but it's not. And
No.
so it's a perfect example. What do you want to see with Move 1 Million? What is your vision for this now? Now that you've created it, you're 5 months in. Where do you want this to go?
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to go worldwide. The thing is
Mhm.
that, again, you talk about just the craziness that we've all been through over the last year and a half, and I mean even beyond. But nevertheless, we need a unified anthem. We need to get rid of any the politics, the race, religion, all that. Just come together as humanity, and that's what it was created to do, was to bring us together and just spread love and light. It's movement, it's mindfulness, it's just there to benefit all of us, to make us happier and healthier. And I want to see it go worldwide, and we're ready. Like, that's the best part, is like, because it's built on technology, it's infinitely scalable. And so, I
Yeah.
mean, very quickly, we'll be serving every school in Arizona. We'll be serving every school in
Wow.
Florida. We're going to be serving every school across this nation, and beyond. We've already
Yeah.
got ambassadors now in France, in Belgium, in the UK,
Wow.
South Africa. And so, yeah, it's starting to go. And I mean, again, we're just 5 months in, and it's really
Yeah.
wild. It's fun to see how it's growing, and how it's really just, it's benefiting, it's impacting lives for the better. So, yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna be worldwide. Give us a couple years, and this
I
thing's
love
gonna
it.
grow really, really.
No, man.
And all of our children, again, they're all gonna know this. They're all gonna have the first step to
Yeah.
take for the rest of their lives, to make their lives better, to improve the quality of their own
Yeah.
life. And then, as they all move together, again, regardless of race, religion, politics, everything, we're all going to move together. There's going to be it's going to be one unified anthem that we can all move to, and we can all celebrate
Love
being a
that.
human together. Yeah.
I love that, Chris. Well, I freaking love you, Chris, and what you do,
I
man.
love you
So
too,
thank
brother.
you so much for for being here and pushing through the hard times. Because if you don't, you won't ever get to this place where you do find this sense of purpose and this fulfillment from what you're doing. So thank you for doing the work, man. It means
Yeah.
a lot to not just to me, but the millions of people that you're affecting. So thank you. Where can people learn more about Move 1 Million, M1M for short, right? Where can people
Yes.
learn about it or go to do it?
Super easy. It's m1m.org. So you can just go to that and you can
Okay.
download the app for free. Or if you're a part of an organization, a corporation, a hospital, a school, you can register it. It takes 30 seconds. And when you do, you'll receive the broadcast every day. And it's fun. It's a fun broadcast because it looks like the Brady Bunch. I'm in the middle, and we have different people that submit their videos every day from around the world, and we all move together.
Really?
So yeah, so m1m.org, you can go there, you can download everything, or you can always find us on social media at move1m yeah, just
Okay.
it's at move1m. So that's
Okay.
it.
Thank you,
Yes.
Chris. We'll have that all in the show
Um,
notes. I know you got to run, pick up your kids, so I want to be respectful of your time. But once
yes.
again, I freaking love you, brother. You're awesome.
Uh,
Thank you for making time for me and my followers. We all love you and appreciate you.
I I love you too, brother. Thank you so much for having me on. And
Okay.
yeah, let's I'll call you later because we got to catch up even more.
Yes. Yes. Shoots, bro.
Shoots, bro. Yes.
Shoots,
All
bro.
right. Take
Okay.
care, my
See you,
friend.
man.